Atlanta, Georgia, still recovering from the effects of Hurricane Helene. As bad as it was here, it was even worse about 200 miles southeast in Statesboro, home of the Georgia Southern Eagles. Today, as this state recovers, they meet the Panthers of Georgia State, and for the first time, a trophy is on the line.
Hey, wake up, shot calling. Pay what I bought it. New crib psychotic. I'm so iconic. Fly down to see the islands. She ain't even bring a wallet. They don't get it, but I got it. I'm so iconic.
College football, a pleasant distraction for the state of Georgia. After the terrible storm that ripped through here the last couple of days, it's the Sun Belt Conference opener for Georgia Southern and Georgia State. This is the 11th meeting, but this time is the first time they're calling it the Georgia Grown Bowl. And they're playing for the Commissioner's Cup today. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Atlanta. Alongside my partner, Steve Adazio, I'm Clay Matvick. It's great to have you with us. It's been a rough week for millions, and thoughts and prayers go out to everybody recovering from that terrible storm. Rivalry games, Steve, are always emotional, but this one, this year, especially.
Yes, this would be a great distraction for everybody involved. The rivalry games bring out unbelievable passion, unbelievable energy. These kids grew up alongside of each other, might have played with each other, against each other, so the passion will be high. And I can't wait to watch the competitive atmosphere here today, Clay.
Yeah, this is one of the great group of five rivalries, and so many kids from the state of Georgia are going to be playing in this one today. 149 and 70% of Georgia Southern's roster is from the Peach State. Now, they've met 10 times before. Georgia State winning 6 of those, but Southern won convincingly last year. Today should be interesting. Sun Belt Conference opener. The Eagles and the Panthers. A couple of days ago, we didn't even know if there would be a game. It's going to happen. The Commissioner's Cup on the line. The game is next. There's Del McGee, first-year head coach here at Georgia State, 51 years old. He's a Columbus, Georgia native. This is his first head coaching stint. Spent some time at Georgia Southern as an assistant at the beginning of his career. There's Clay Helton on the other side in his 3rd year, still looking for his first winning season at Georgia Southern. He's been 6-7 each of his first 2 seasons. Georgia State won the toss. They deferred, so Georgia Southern will receive. Now we're going to get a look at that J.C. French run Eagles offense. Both of these teams, Steve, have played tough early season schedules, and now they feel that they're very confident and prepared for Sun Belt Conference play.
No question about it. And those tough games can really harden your team and form your identity. So we're going to see that on display today.
Braden McAllister has it on the tee, ready to kick it off. DeAndre Buchanan, he can fly. He is back to return, but not going to get a chance as it bounces through the end zone. J.C. French, a native of Roswell, Georgia, 20 miles north of here. He's a first-year starter for the Eagles, won a 3-way battle in camp. And, Coach, he won the job because he protects the football more than anything.
Yeah, well, turnovers are your #1 enemy, and he does a great job of taking care of the ball and moves this offense and spreads it to everybody. He's an exciting young player.
Here we go with the Georgia Grown Bowl. And Tyler Fromm goes in motion, the tight end. Jalen White in the backfield, and we're going to see a lot of White. He's going to get the first carry and steam ahead across the 30-yard line. He is considered one of the top NFL prospects in the Sun Belt, and it's good to see him finally healthy.
He's been out and has hampered their running game, and good to see him get started here.
He's been dealing with an ankle injury. The last couple of weeks has recovered nicely. 6-yard pickup on first down, so 2nd down and 4 as they shift the power of the formation to the right side. J.C. French is going to throw for the first time, or attempt to. Pocket collapses. He escapes and turn what probably was going to be a negative play into something positive. Dorian Royal, the defensive end, the transfer from Maine, got him down. It'll be 3rd and 1.
They had a linebacker run through, and that created the penetration on the play-action pass that J.C. couldn't really set his feet, but he did a great job of keeping the yards positive, putting them in a 3rd and short.
This is a Georgia State defense which held Vanderbilt to just 110 yards rushing a couple of weeks ago. Coming into this game confident. French again is going to be dumped and punished, taking a loss of a yard. And it'll be 4th down.
Xavier Robinson, boy, they came down real downhill fast. Both linebackers filled that hole and really did a great job. The play looked a little out of sync to me. It looked delayed, too delayed, and they beat the blocks late.
Xavier Robinson leading the Panthers in tackles through the first 3 games. The transfer from West Georgia making a statement for that Kevin Shearer defense. Now Tyleik Williams struggles getting control of the football, but does. And it'll be a long field for Georgia State, as they'll have it at the 17-yard line. Here's Christian Veilleux, the tall Canadian, showing poise and leadership here in the season so far. He has game-winning 4th-quarter touchdown drives the last 2 games against Chattanooga and Vandy.
He's the leader of this offense for sure, and he's the guy that drives this whole team during the offseason and practice.
3rd program in 3 years for Veilleux. And he's going to hand it off. No running room as Marquez Watson-Trent, the leading tackler and 2-time captain for the Eagles, gets in to make the stop on Freddie Brock. So Georgia State, under offensive coordinator Jim Chaney, longtime college and NFL assistant. Time of possession leading the Sun Belt. And deep handoff on that draw play. Brock goes up the middle and meets Watson-Trent again. We were talking with Brandon Bailey and Clay Helton before the game this week, and they said Watson-Trent needs to have a big game stopping the run, and it's going to be a 3rd down and fairly long here coming up.
Clay had mentioned they wanted their ends up the field to create a little bit more pass rush in their 4-down scheme. Those ends got up the field, and it was a real smart call by Jim Chaney to run a draw in that down and distance.
Georgia Southern was having headset issues. They're all up and operating now.
Now they're having communication issues on that Georgia Southern sideline. Again, this is the first year with in-helmet communication. Apparently they got him figured out. Ted Pitts is our referee today. Georgia State 43% on 3rd down this year. 3rd down and 6. Veilleux to the outside, and it's incomplete. He wanted Dorian Fleming. The sophomore receiver Mark Stampley was right there in coverage, so both defenses force a 3-and-out here early.
Well, that was a 6-man pressure out of Georgia Southern on that down. They brought both inside linebackers and overwhelmed the protection. I thought Valet did a good job of getting the ball out, but the timing was way off.
James Allen, JUCO transfer from Australia, on to punt. LV Bunkley Shelton back to return. Strong kick and fumbled. Bunkley Shelton is able to recover, and it's going to be down inside the 40-yard line. So each team has got a possession in this rivalry game here in downtown Atlanta. No score. College football rankings brought to us by Prudential. Just moments ago, Ole Miss and Kentucky goes final. Ole Miss upset 20-17 the final. A missed field goal, the deciding factor. And how about that game last night? Miami winning. As it appeared, Virginia Tech had won the ball game, but a controversial call at the end, and Coach Steve Addazio is still trying to figure that one out. Jalen White on first down will pick up 2 for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I mean, I was shaking my head way past midnight on that deal. I mean, it took the game away, and I couldn't see the indisputable.
Stacked receivers to either side, but they're going to run it. Jalen White again, spinning and having a hard time finding real estate inside. Again, this Georgia State defense has been pretty salty here in the early part of the season. Kenyatta Watson, Georgia Tech transfer, made the stop. And we've got a Panther down. And this is Royal, defensive end. So after that tackle, it's going to be 3rd down and 5. Clay Helton, longtime play caller, has given play calling duties to his offensive coordinator, Ryan Applin, who's a 34-year-old rising star. When we talked to Clay this week, Steve, that it's hard to get out of that comfort zone. He feels very comfortable calling the plays, but he says, you know what, I really trust Ryan. And I maybe call 6 or 8 plays a game. In fact, last week against Ole Miss, he did call that halfback pass that resulted in a touchdown, but he saves them for special moments.
Yeah, he's calling the shot plays, you know, the head coach prerogative. You know, you pull it right out and say, okay, fellas, it's time to take a shot, and it's my call, and this is what we're doing. And he's got so much experience. What a great mentor he is, and highly successful offensive mind.
Now, Dorian Royal appeared to be favoring that right shoulder. He's on the sideline now. Jalen White in the backfield to the right of J.C. French. 3rd down and 5. French, play fake, pass is complete. That's Derwin Burgess, their #1 target. And it's going to be a 1st down. And with that catch, Burgess, 32 straight games with a reception. That's a new school record. First down, wants to pass again, and that's batted down.
They had a real light box there. Georgia State played a 4-down scheme, and both backers sort of walked halfway. So I thought maybe they might check that into a run. He threw that with zone coverage there. Great rush and great getting his hands up. Dorian Royal.
On odd man fronts for Georgia State, which Georgia Southern has not seen against the 4-man front. They go to O.J. Arnold on the toss. And Kenyatta Watson runs him down after that 8-yard gain. So here's 3rd down again. And this Georgia Southern offense, 39% on the year on 3rd down. You see that they're a no-huddle team. They like to go with tempo and just trying to get some traction going, finally probing into Georgia State territory. Tyler Fromm, the tight end, lined up wide to the right. They're going to come on the slant to Josh Dallas, the sophomore out of Sharpsburg, Georgia.
J.C. French has ripped 2 beautiful slant routes, and they've done a great job of being able to get the ball vertical after the catch here. They're moving the chains. I imagine they're going to stay in the tempo because they're able to keep that defense on the field and not able to substitute right now.
Georgia Southern 2-2, losses to Boise State and #5 Ole Miss. Wins at Nevada and over South Carolina State. And again, because of that schedule, they come in here feeling pretty good about their preparedness for conference play. Little shoulder fake. Now to the outside. There's Fromm wide open. And his momentum takes him out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Good looking play design there. That's a pickup of 19.
Yeah, they ran a wheel route with the tight end, and against cover 1, Georgia State is playing 1 high safety cover 1 man, and they hit the wheel route, and they couldn't match it with the linebacker. It was a great play call and a great execution.
You see in the red zone this season, it's been solid. 12 touchdowns, 15 trips for Georgia Southern. They have 5 receivers, empty backfield. French looking left. Some pressure comes over the middle. Bunkley Shelton has room to run. And he takes it down to the 2-yard line. That's a guy that Clay Helton originally recruited to Southern Cal. He gets 15, and it's first down and goal to go.
Yeah. Clay mentioned in our meeting that they had a different variety of what we call jailbreak screens, where the linemen release and they're able to bring the receiver behind the line of scrimmage. And I believe that's a jailbreak they just ran right there, but did it out of a little trickeration in their formation.
They huddle up and they break the huddle with 7 offensive linemen. And now timeout called by Georgia State as they want to prepare for what the Eagles are offering. Now, we said Clay Helton is a very smart offensive mind. We'll see what's up his sleeve when we come back.
ESPN College Football is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Protect the stuff you love with Renter's Insurance. Visit progressive.com. And McDonald's.
Great play design just moments ago by Georgia Southern, and the Eagles are knocking on the door.
It sure was. You can see right here that the offensive left tackle Boyd is flexed out of the formation, and the tight end is in the formation. And what they do is they release the offensive line and they run a little jailbreak to number 4 as he came behind the line of scrimmage, catches the ball, and has a great opportunity to get vertical here and create an explosive, well-designed play by Clay Helton and his staff.
7 offensive linemen, and it's Jalen White right into the teeth of that Georgia State front. And it'll be stopped short of the goal line. Second down and goal to go. And now coming out of that fray, limping a little bit, is Evan Lester, redshirt junior tight end out of Dalton, Georgia. He's going to try and walk this one off. He's going to stay in the ballgame. We said this rivalry meant a lot to these guys. Second and goal. Toss back to Jalen White. He'll find an avenue. Did he get in? No, they're going to mark him short. White, the 5th-year senior, all 220 pounds of him, had a head of steam, but he ran into K.D. McDaniel and Fuchsius Lewis, the nose guard.
They had Boyd in the backfield as a fullback on that play, the offensive lineman, the left tackle, and he was the lead blocker on that play, and he did a pretty darn good job there. I think the back's got to lower his pads right there and be your own blocker and for the extra defender and get across the goal line. That should have scored. You run down here, you got to run with your pads low.
Georgia Southern went 3 and out on their opening series. They have marched it to the 1, 3rd down and goal. Play action. Rollout, wide open, caught for the touchdown. It's Josh Dallas, but there's a penalty marker down. Hold on. Dallas with his first touchdown catch of the year, but will it stand?
Roughing the passer, number 9 defense. The score is good. Georgia Southern has elected to take the penalty on the kickoff.
It will stand. Kevin Swint, the outside linebacker, with the roughing the passer here.
Yeah, that's roughing. That's, you got to protect the quarterback, and he put his hands out, threw him to the ground on the finish play, and it's a good call.
Gavin Stewart, Georgia Tech transfer, comes on for the point after, and it's 7-0 Eagles. Dallas on the receiving end of the 7th touchdown pass of the year from J.C. French, but the big play, and you showed it earlier, Coach, that little tunnel screen to Bunkley Shelton, which got him down to the 2-yard line. Good start for the Eagles. They lead at 7-0 here in Atlanta. Josh Dallas in the center of the screen behind the coach there. That was his first career touchdown. Capped an 11-play, 61-yard drive. His dad, Kenny, was his high school coach. Big thrill for a Georgia native to get the scoring started here today. We talked about the emotion of this rivalry, Steve, especially emotional because of everything that has happened in this state and in the Southeast the last couple of days. And we want to remind you that you can help. Help those affected by the hurricane. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and get these people back on their feet. We thank A.J. Henderson from the Georgia Southern Athletic Department for sending us these photos that were taken yesterday. It took the Eagles more than 5 hours to get from Statesboro to Atlanta, a trip that usually is around 3 hours in length. Just so many downed trees. As Jordan Ford with the carry, ball popped out, and it's recovered by the Panthers. That's Ben Kachuma, the left tackle, who recovered. But it was just a nightmare, and it still is in Statesboro. So many people out of power. A lot of people here in Atlanta out of power, and flooding all over. It's gonna be a while. In fact, in Statesboro, they're not going to resume school until Wednesday. 7-0 Eagles, second down and 11. Veyer going deep down the middle. Big shot, man open. He's got Ted Hurst. Nice move. Cuts it back to the end zone. Goodbye, touchdown. Ted Hurst has been the star in that wide receiver room here in the early part of the season for the Panthers. That's his 4th touchdown catch in 4 games.
He beat that free safety and did a great job of really blowing right by him. He's one of their better players, maybe one of their best players on offense.
Liam Rickman comes on for the point after, and he's got it. We're tied at 7. Ted Hurst, transfer from Valdosta State, has been a great addition. Georgia State really sucked a lot of talent out of the transfer portal. None bigger than Ted Hurst.
Look at the speed and the acceleration and the length, and what a great throw by Christian Valet. What a super good call by Jim Chaney to start off the series with a shot play. Great play action pass. Really nice job. Fantastic.
Ted Hurst had 128 yards, couple of touchdowns in that Vandy win. Caught the game-winning touchdown from Veyer in the 4th quarter. And they hook up again here to tie the game at 7 with 5:34 to go in the opening quarter.
That was a heck of an answer. You had to have a heck of an answer on an 11-play drive. They came out and they responded.
We talked to both coaching staffs yesterday, and they both agreed that this game is probably going to be decided by defense. And it was a methodical scoring drive for Georgia Southern moments ago. That was a quick strike play to retaliate for Georgia State. Pounding ball inside the 10. DeAndre Buchanan gets hammered as he crosses the 15-yard line. Did he cough it up? Georgia State says he did. Looks like he was down. I'm going to say Buchanan was down. Again, a little more emotion even on these special teams plays here today. The officials still really talking things over here.
As the ball carrier was down prior to the ball coming out. First down, Georgia Southern.
He's carrying that ball really loose right now. Yeah, ground can't cause a fumble. The ball's down. He's got to carry that ball tight to his body with the point up high, wrist above the elbow, or we're going to see more turnovers.
O.J. Arnold is going to get a chance in the backfield, but they're going to throw it to Derwin Burgess. And he is quickly wrapped up by Gavin Pringle. So it'll be second down. ABC College Football Saturday night. Boy, is this the game of the week. Number 2, Georgia squaring off against number 4, Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And of course, Del McGee, the new head coach here at Georgia State. Longtime assistant for Kirby at Georgia, as French will run it up the sideline, and he's going to have a first down. Del McGee, one of the branches on that Kirby Smart coaching tree, helped
one of the
Bulldogs
liabilities,
win a couple national titles.
one of the liabilities of man coverage. Once the quarterback gets out of that pocket, everybody's got their back turned to him.
And J.C. French good at extending plays. Here's Arnold. Good burst. And a penalty down. Here's that coaching tree. Del McGee. A great run as the running backs coach in Athens. Sam Pittman, Dan Lanning at Oregon. And Fran Brown, the new Syracuse head coach. Worth noting that Fran Brown was on your tree first.
Yeah, Fran started with me at Temple, did a great job recruiting for us. He is a terrific young coach. Interesting story. Fran was working the night shift in the hospital and working for us at Temple during the day. But he had great ambition and passion for the game.
Face masking penalty on Dorian Royal, who left the game earlier for Georgia State. The defensive end back in there commits a penalty, a 15-yarder. And now back into plus territory are the Eagles. Jet Thompson, fastest player on the Georgia Southern roster. His name is Joshua, but they call him Jet. And he's going to get just 3 on this as we close in on 4 minutes.
Well, they utilize Jet on the jet sweep. And that's an effective play with a guy that has that kind of speed, well blocked on the perimeter, making the defense run sideline to sideline. Those are great plays when you're a tempo team.
2nd and 7 on that right hash. Burgess in motion. French looking right, pumps, throws, good pass to Burgess. Boy, he just drove it right into the numbers. Burgess, the 2nd leading receiver all time at Georgia Southern, gets 9, and they'll move the sticks again.
He pump faked the flare out to the back, and he banged that curl right inside with a lot of confidence. He's throwing, JC's throwing the ball really, really well right now.
He's 8 for 9, 57 yards and a touchdown. David Bedinga in the ball game at running back, but they throw again, going to the end zone, and intended for Burgess. Some hand fighting. Isaiah Guy, fresh off injury in that Georgia State secondary, was right there. It got a little physical, but no laundry on the field.
I think Isaiah Guy got away with one. He looked like he pushed off there at the end and distorted the receiver. That should have been a PI penalty, in my opinion.
Isaiah Guy was injured during that Vanderbilt game a couple of weeks ago. Good to see him back on the field. 2nd down and 10. Back to the ground game. And O.J. Arnold, look out! Inside the 15. Goodbye, touchdown.
Great cut.
32 yards on the run. Arnold puts Georgia Southern back on top. Now, O.J. Arnold was part of a touchdown last week in that loss to Ole Miss. He was the guy who threw the halfback pass. This time he shows off his feet with a 32-yard run. 7 plays, 82 yards in 240. The product of Brooks County High School here in the state of Georgia. And it's now 14-7.
So Wembley, the left guard, pulls and kicks out the defensive end. who crashed underneath, kicked out the linebacker. And then what a great job by Arnold sticking his foot in the ground and making the safety who came down as the extra defender in the box miss. Well executed, well done. When you see an offensive lineman be able to handle the spiking end that got gathered and he can compensate and kick the backer, that's well coached. That's a well coached, well run play. This is a byproduct of a Clay Helton looking offense.
Spiking end, I don't know that I've heard that before.
Well, what happens is the end comes underneath in the C gap under the tight end, and the backer scrapes over the top, so you have to replace. The guard would have led on the backer. Now the tight end takes the end, and he takes his other guy, the backer. Yes. You'll watch the end come underneath the tackle, and you're going to watch the backer come over the top right now, and Wembley pick him up and kick him out physically. And then I just love the run of Arnold, because you got to make somebody miss in this game, and he did.
2021 Georgia Offensive Player of the Year at Brooks County High School. And both of these teams have a lot of depth at running back. Now Georgia State going back to work on offense. Michael Dukes checks in, and he'll get the toss. The 6th-year player, 3 seasons at Clemson, 2 at USF, and he'll get a couple on first down. I'll tell you, Georgia State, as does Georgia Southern, really like their skill players, and we've seen a lot of different guys get involved in both offenses here so far.
Is Ted Hurst playing the X position down here into the boundary as a elite-looking receiver.
Play action. Veyer. Cox throws short. And this is caught by Dukes out of the backfield. He'll get 4. 3rd down and medium coming up. Good tackle by Davon Gilmore. That big 250-pound linebacker making the stop. As it'll be 3rd down and 4. Dorian Fleming, the tight end, shifting into the slot on the left side. Georgia State yet to convert on 3rd down in this game, and they won't here. That was intended for Hurst. Chance Gamble was there. Also in the vicinity, Gilmore. And it'll be 4th down, and Georgia State's going to have to bring out James Allen to punt. So the momentum here, Steve, has been taken over by Georgia Southern.
It has. I believe that Christian Valera felt like, Ted Hurst was going to work back out to the sideline, which I believe he should have. He got matched, and there's a miscommunication, a breakdown there.
James Allen, booming kick. Josh Dallas backpedaling, and he'll field it at the 20-yard line, and that's where the Eagles will have it after the 49-yard punt. We've got 2 Monday Night Football games coming your way. Will Levis and the Titans taking on Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins, 7:15 Eastern on ESPN. Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, 3-0 Seahawks squaring off against Jared Goff and company. 2-1 Lions at 8 Eastern on ABC. Boy, the Dolphins offense has really struggled. It's been a while since they put up a touchdown. They haven't scored in 7 consecutive quarters. Longest streak under Mike McDaniel. Minute 37 to go in the first quarter. It's been entertaining. Jalen White rips off a good run. Found a crease on that right side. Finally, D.I.C. Hopkins, the safety, brings him down. And there's another player on the field that's apparently injured for Georgia State. It's Tavion Brown.
Tavion's a young man that played for me out at Colorado State, and he's made his way here to Georgia State. Hope he's okay.
Well, Georgia State getting 2 key players back for this game. We talked about Isaiah Guy, the cornerback, earlier. Inside linebacker Justin Abraham, who missed the Vanderbilt game with a shoulder injury. He is back today. Now they're attending to Tavion Brown. Where this Georgia Southern offense right now, Steve, looks like a well-oiled machine. Starting to click on all cylinders. A good mix of run, a good mix of pass. And J.C. French, who threw just one interception in fall camp. That was the main reason he won the job, beat out 2 other competitors. Has really found a home in this offense.
He spreads the ball well. He can throw it well. He runs it, beats you with his legs. Smart guy, reads the field. The last play they ran is kind of interesting. I've noticed they've been running this now. They're running a zone play, an inside zone play, but they're they're inserting with the tight end up on the backer, and they're cutting the defense. This is something a little different for them. So you can see the tight end trying to insert to the backer, and they're trying to cut the defense and create like a ISO block out of a zone play. I like it a lot, and it's been productive for him.
Brown under his own power, getting to the sideline. J.C. French played in 10 games last year as a primary backup after a transfer from Memphis. Not very vocal. But we were talking to Clay Helton and the staff, and they said he just leads with his actions. And I know you really like his play. You liked what you saw on tape this week.
So he has a lot of poise.
Jalen White back in there. They'll feed it to him. And he'll plunge ahead for 4 or 5. Xavier Robinson, the inside linebacker, in on the stop again. And now Georgia Southern trying to get up to the line and go with a little more tempo one more time. French on 2nd and 5. He'll drive it over the middle again. Great coverage by Kenyatta Watson. Bats that one away from Tyler Fromm, the Auburn transfer at tight end.
Separated the ball from the receiver. That's at the safety position, what you need to be able to do.
Watson transferred across town from Georgia Tech. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 5. Eagles 3 for 4 so far this afternoon, converting on 3rd downs. 4 receivers. Nice pass, nice catch by Burgess. Out to the 45-yard line, 8 yards and a 1st down. Boy, again, French just right on time.
They lined up in their odd front on defense, and they ran a long twist up front. I thought the offensive line for Georgia Southern did an excellent job of picking that up and giving a throwing lane for JC.
Arnold at running back. He had the touchdown run on the last series. French, a little pressure, and he's just going to throw it into the ground. 10 seconds to go here in the 1st quarter. Henry Bryant, Ian Matthews, a couple of the guys on that Georgia State interior line, making things difficult on French as you look at Ryan Applin, just 34 years old, the offensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator, Brandon Bailey, 30 years old, is one of the youngest coordinator duos in the entire country. French standing tall, surveying now, moves to his left and throws another strike to Dallas. Boy, Josh Dallas having a great opening quarter. Inside the 40 to the 35. That's a gain of 20, and that will be the last play of the first 15 minutes. An opening quarter that has had some fireworks in this first ever Georgia Grown Bowl with the Commissioner's Cup on the line. But right now, the Eagles from Statesboro have the momentum. Their drive continues when the 2nd quarter starts from Atlanta. Start of the 2nd quarter, 14-7 Georgia Southern. As J.C. French, who's been sharp here in the early going, throws it to Dalen Cobb, and he is murdered. Hit as he tried to catch it. Oh, that was ugly.
That was another one of those tunnel screens. And
Gavin Pringle just lit him up.
Lit him up. Vicious collision. That's what happens with those screens. There's a fine line here between being able to get away in the block and the separation with the receiver.
Actually, it was D.I.C. Hopkins. It was Pringle who scooped up the ball, but it was ruled incomplete. So that's the first play of the second quarter. And as we get underway here in quarter number 2. Sun Belt Conference opener, both Georgia Southern and Georgia State. French taking a shot for Cobb, overthrown, and Gavin Pringle almost had a chance to get underneath that and pick it off. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Georgia Southern, a couple of passes to start the quarter. One thing, though, that they wanted to do in this ballgame, Steve, was establish the run. They did that in the first quarter with 97 rushing yards on 13 carries.
I'm surprised with this field position they're not back on the run right now. So they're an empty here.
That's Bedinga going in motion. French looks right, comes back left. Bunkley Shelton was cut off, tried to get back to the sideline and cut the corner, couldn't do it. Isaiah Guy tracks him down, no gain, and it'll be 4th down. And this drive comes to an end as this Georgia State defense regrouped during the quarter break.
They came back with another tunnel screen and tried to execute it again, feeling like there was going to be pressure coming, I'm sure.
So Gavin Stewart will come out. Georgia Tech transfer. 5 for 6 this year. His season-long 48-yarder was the difference in that win at Nevada. This will be a 53-yard attempt out of the hold of Matthew Daniel. Good end-over-end kick. It has the distance, and it is right on the money. Gavin Stewart from 53. Clay Helton likes that. And the Eagles now lead by 10.
Another drive, more points. Georgia Southern has been great in the red zone. Another example of that right there.
Gavin Stewart wearing that special numeral 0 today for the Eagles. He's not a 0. He puts 3 on the board. Gavin Stewart, career high 53-yard field goal moments ago. Georgia Southern leading by 10. And Georgia State will have it at the 25-yard line here at Center Park Credit Union Stadium. But back during the '96 Summer Olympics, it was known as Centennial Olympic Stadium. And then later on, it was the home of the Atlanta Braves. And, of course, it was known as Turner Field. But who can forget Michael Johnson and those gold shoes during the Olympics that year? Just so many great moments. Of course, Carl Lewis, part of that fantastic track and field team. My greatest memory is Muhammad Ali lighting the torch. There's Tyleik Williams after the catch, getting it out close to the 40. That's just the 9th play for Georgia State. Christian Veilleux and this offense, they haven't been out there long.
Not a lot of plays. They need to get some. They need to stay on the field and keep their defense off.
A couple of 3 and outs. And this is Freddie Brock. Maybe 2 yards, so 3rd down.
They need better 3rd down production. And this is going to be a series here where they likely will find themselves in that. They're going to need to convert.
Pardon me, 2nd down and 8. There's Dell McGee. He did have some concern with this team coming off bye. Wondered how they would start after a week off. He wanted a crisp start. I don't know that he's actually received that. Veilleux drives it to the outside. That is caught by Ted Hurst and gets over the marker for the 1st down out to midfield. Got a little help from his friends.
Just a quick hitch out there, and it was good defensive play, but the great pursuit of their own defense, Georgia Southern, knocked them forward for a 1st down. You know, you saw Big Latrell Bullard, the defensive interior tackle, run out there like a linebacker and cover that field, and he was the one who whacked that pile and pushed it forward.
Yeah, I thought it was Amon Green, his own man, but it was actually the defense that led to the first down. Tracy Hill, slow to get up, was off on the Georgia Southern sideline now. Hill, sophomore corner.
Latrell Bullard is 360 pounds. That is a big man running fast for about 25 yards to the sideline. That's impressive. Hats to the ball, man.
Bayer wants to throw on first down. He's going to take another shot. Again, looking for Hurst. Incomplete this time. You can see why they like Ted Hurst. He's got long arms, great hands, and he has been clutch. He's clutch in that Vandy game.
He's a strider. People used to say a stripe eater. The stripes on the field, they go away. He covers a lot of territory.
Bayer's 4 for 7. He's over 100 yards because of the one big touchdown pass to Hurst. He'll come down short over the middle. And that's complete, close to a first down for Tyleik Williams, the key veteran. And he did get the first down.
Christian Veilleux stood right in the pocket with someone coming right down at him and threw that strike. And that's what good quarterbacks do. They don't flinch. He didn't flinch.
Veilleux's been around the block. Penn State, Pitt. Now here at Georgia State. Replaces the only 3-year starting quarterback in program history, Darren Granger. He won a 4-man competition in camp, and now he's getting heated up, and he is going to be sacked. Back at the 45-yard line of Georgia State, Christian Varner. The 6th-year senior North Carolina transfer goes in. It's a 13-yard loss.
That's that play action where they pull the guard, and when they pull the guard, they've got great penetration. Interiorly, the right guard should have been down on that block, and he missed the block and created that sack. That hurts.
We were talking to Brandon Bailey and the coaching staff from Georgia Southern. They wanted to make Christian Veilleux uncomfortable. Get some tackles for loss. There's their first. And that throw is incomplete. Hurst had his hands on it, but then Chance Gamble rattled his cage. And now it's 3rd and a mile.
Got to catch that one. That ball's a catchable ball. Yeah, those are the plays you have to make, but they're not easy. It's easy for me up in the booth saying that. Those are hard things to do when you know you're going to take that shot with your ribs exposed.
It's actually 22 Mark Stampley who laid the wood. Georgia State has struggled on 3rd down so far. Quick out, caught, and it's going to be well shy of what they needed. Jordan Ford, the running back, another guy in his 6th year of college football. He'll get 7, and now it's 4th down. And Georgia State has to punt.
This is a good call to punt the ball here. Pin them down, create field position. It's too many yards here to make on 4th down.
James Allen will try to flip the field and pin the Eagles' Josh Dallas inside the 20. Dallas is going to let it bounce. Well done by the Panthers special teams, as the Eagles will have it at the 2-yard line. 44-yard punt by James Allen.
ESPN College Football is brought to you by G. There's only one.
Well, don't forget about Georgia and Alabama tonight. Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Great game in Tuscaloosa. Starts at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Alongside Steve Adazio, I'm Clay Matvick here in Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of folks going to be watching that game after this one's done here in this state. Carson Beck, excellent quarterback for the Bulldogs. Jalen Milroe starting to get some Heisman talk too for Alabama. Of course, he'll have the home field advantage tonight. Eagles backed up after that long punt from James Allen. But the Eagles have the momentum right now. The defense doing their share, and now the offense will give it to O.J. Arnold. And he'll get him out of the shadow of that goal line. Good run for Arnold. Katie McDaniel in on the tackle.
Clay Helton talked about the ability to run the football, and they're running the football. And then he talked about they needed to play great defense. They're doing a great job on defense. So the points of emphasis for them during the week are showing on this field right now.
Georgia Southern over 100 yards on the ground. Meanwhile, Georgia State -6 yards rushing the football. French complete again. That's going to be a first down for Bunkley Shelton.
That was an RPO right there where the quarterback sunk the ball. Was going to either hand the counter off to the tailback or hit the slant. He saw the hinge player on defense come inside. He hit the slant.
And go with some tempo here. They stack receivers to either side. Pump fake. Another completion. Bo Johnson this time. And he'll roll out across the 40-yard line. 6th-year tight end. His dad, Charles, spent 11 years as a catcher in the big leagues. Won a World Series with the Marlins. Good-looking football player. French. Complete again. And it's Johnson one more time. A gain of 5.
The plays that they're calling right now are really setting up off of each other. They showed the counter this time, but that's a predetermined naked off the counter, and he throws a little route and is able to create 5 yards on the play. All these plays are playing off each other. Really, I love to see that. It's really well done, well thought out.
And there's Ryan Applin, the offensive coordinator. And you see J.C. French looks very comfortable in this offense. First-year starter. Arnold, he'll burst through the hole and pick up a first down into Georgia State territory. That's a gain of 7. As this Panthers defense is on its heels right now, Steve.
Well, you saw, as we were talking about, now they run the counter. So they set the counter up, and it's just really good play calling. And it's hard on defense to be able to stop everything. It's all pieced together. I should use the word coordinated.
This Panther defense gave up 110 yards rushing to Vandy just a couple of weeks ago. Georgia Southern has already gone over them. 114 on the ground for the Eagles. French rips a shot over the middle, and that's incomplete. Knocked away. Double coverage there around Josh Dallas. And Heimuli, Arizona transfer.
I think you're seeing so many slant routes right now because they're getting a lot of man-free one-high coverage with outside leverage. So you're going to see them throw these slants. I think Georgia State's going to adjust and have to go to some too high. Looks like they might be doing that. No. That motion is getting the spin down to one high.
Jalen White, haven't called his name in a while, and he is spun down for a loss. Justin Abraham, inside linebacker, number 46, their pivotal leader.
So they're trying on defense. Georgia State is trying to play quarters coverage. And with the motion, Georgia Southern's using the motion to be able to get them to spin out of that quarters coverage and into man coverage again. Here's Georgia State. They're starting in a too high quarters looking coverage right now.
Georgia State needs a stop. 3rd down and 10. French finds Dallas, first down and more. Josh Dallas. That's a gain of 20. And he is the leading receiver today without question for Georgia Southern.
J.C. French found Josh Dallas in the fat of the zone, the empty spot of the zone in quarters.
It's his 4th catch, 49 yards and a touchdown for Josh. Well, he'll line up in the backfield. Rolling out. French. Now feeling some pressure on the run. Had it tipped and almost intercepted. Gavin Pringle, the preseason All-Sun Belt corner, nearly had the turnover Georgia State was looking to create.
What a play by Gavin Pringle. Extraordinary effort. One hand at the top of his vertical right there with his fingertips stops a touchdown. That would have been a touchdown.
Pringle leading the Sun Belt in passes defended, and you can see why. Redshirt senior out of Baltimore. 2nd and 10. Over the middle, caught by Cobb, and he's got another first down for Georgia Southern. That's a guy that they want to get involved more, Steve. That's a gain of 15.
Yeah, I think Georgia Southern is one step ahead right now. They ran an RPO off the one-back power, and saw that the safety was down in the box and hit the slant again. It's another slant. They're really taking advantage of the coverage here.
Cobb limped to the sideline. That was the first catch for Cobb. He's their leading pass catcher through the first 4 games.
There's Georgia State in one high again.
5.5 to go before halftime. Georgia Southern leading by 10, looking for more. First down and 10. French fakes the handoff, and he'll run it himself down close to the goal line. He's going to be stopped just short.
Well, Clay Helton talked about running a little bit of read zone. They bring the tight end across the formation and conflict the defensive end and read him. He pulls the ball. The defensive end is the seal blocker in the perimeter. What a great play right there.
Clay Helton told us yesterday that French is going to get about 4 or 5 designed runs per game. That was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, French really should have scored on that play. If he just fouled his blocker to the pylon, that'd have been a touchdown.
This will be the 12th play of the drive. They started back at their own 2. Arnold, his 2nd touchdown. The Eagles get in again. What an impressive touchdown drive for Georgia Southern. And they have opened up this football game.
This Georgia State defense is tired right now. They're worn down, and you could see it on that last play that they didn't have the same juice, the same hats to the ball, and that's the effect of long drives and the distortion in the play count right now.
Stewart makes it 24-7. Arnold has a couple of touchdown runs. Georgia native, and it's 24-7 Eagles. (24-7) Georgia Southern leading this first Georgia Grown Bowl. This rivalry now comes with a trophy. There's the Commissioner's Cup, sponsored by the Georgia Department of Agriculture. Dale McGee's team is down significantly now. His offense needs to find some traction with 4:39 to go in the half. Time for the AT&T Best Moments, brought to you by AT&T 5G, and that was a pretty good looking scoring drive. 12 plays, 98 yards, and J.C. French 5 for 7, 70 yards passing on that drive, Steve.
Unbelievable completion percentage. When your quarterback's throwing at that level, you're gonna be playing at a really high level and converting a lot of first downs.
French 16 of 24 overall, 155 through the air and a touchdown. Georgia State now, can they find a response? Freddie Brock, the intended receiver out of the backfield, incomplete. Marquez Watson-Trent in on the coverage. There's French. His full name is John Charles French IV. Quite a mouthful, so you can just call him JC.
JC's having a heck of a day so far.
Going to the air again. The run game is non-existent for Georgia State, and that's incomplete. He wanted Ted Hurst, his favorite receiver today. Veillere was off the mark.
Here's the trap right now. The trap is you start chucking the ball around and you don't run the football, and you go 3 and out and you put that defense back on the field, and all of a sudden this game can get away from you. You got to kind of be steady in the boat right now and try to create a little bit of a drive here.
Fleming, the tight end, goes in motion. Fleming's having a breakout year. He's been quiet today. That one's tipped at the line and lands incomplete. Great pass rush there by the Georgia Southern defense, and the Panthers are going to have to punt again.
They brought 6 on that last play and collapsed the pocket here with an interior twist with the linebacker. Wow, he took a real shot there, and they tipped the ball and distorted it, and that was just not a good series for Georgia State, not a confidence builder, and they're going to have poor field position.
Isaac Walker, the defensive end, preseason All-Sun Belt. He got a hand on it. And this will be the 4th punt for James Allen. He pinned the Eagles deep at the 2 the last time. This is going to be good field position for Georgia Southern on this occasion. Out to the 33-yard line, LV Bunkley Shelton. And so J.C. French, after a brief rest, will bring back the Georgia Southern offense out onto the field. It's been about ball control today for the Eagles. Look at the time of possession. What an imbalance.
The numbers are completely out of whack, Clay. 42 plays to 19. This defense of Georgia State, they're going to have to bow up here and try to regroup and get in at half.
Well, the last time that these two programs met here, it was all about the Georgia State defense. They forced a program record 5 turnovers. That was back in 2022. And won handily over Georgia Southern. David Bedinga checks in at running back number 21. He is the shortest of those 3 talented running backs for the Eagles. He's 5'7", 190 pounds. And he's going to rip off 8 yards. 2nd and 2.
Yeah, just a simple inside zone play. It was going to be an insert by the tight end. Instead, he wrapped it, but there was no read on that, just a straight handoff.
There's Bedinga just picking his way. He'll pick up a yard, 3rd and short. There's been a great history of running backs at Georgia Southern. You know, it seems like they always have good ones. Tracy Ham, Adrian Peterson, Matt Breida, those guys come to mind. And we were talking to the coaching staff this week. You know, they trust all 3 of the guys that we've seen so far today.
You can see why. They played at a high level.
There's Dallas again. Good catch and run. And he stays on his feet out across the midfield stripe. Gain of 9.
Ran a little read zone right there and came off with the flat route. So you've seen the RPOs, you've seen the read zones, you've seen the straight handoffs, you've seen the play action passes, you've seen the tunnel screen with the jailbreaks. A really nice mix of plays.
5 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown for Dallas. Really standing out here in the first half. French over the middle, finds him again. That's a gain of 8. Where they're just picking this defense apart right now.
They are, and it's with a mix of offense. That was just a simple spacing concept with short routes spaced across the field horizontally, and really well executed. Nice throw, nice catch. 8 yards on 1st down. I mean, this defense is getting worn down now.
Over 300 yards of offense for Georgia Southern. They have been wanting to go with tempo, but they elect to let the clock go down to the 2-minute timeout. 24-7, Eagles leading and looking for more. Clay Helton in his 3rd year at Georgia Southern, 6 seasons as head coach of USC. Won the Rose Bowl in 2016. Likes the makeup of this team this year, especially his quarterback J.C. French. Had a bit of a slow start today. Went 3 and out and had to punt on their opening series, but they have scored on their last 4. A scrimmage from just outside the 40-yard line of Georgia State. 2 minutes to go here before halftime. French rolling out. He's going to nail Bo Johnson with that quick pass. And it depends on the spot. D.I.C. Hopkins makes the tackle. Did not get it. 3rd down and short.
Great block. Stoned the lineman. They run a cross dog blitz. He stoned him in the hole. You know, unbelievable block by the running back, Bedinga. That's what you have to be able to. That's the mark of an elite back. Elite backs not only run the ball well, but they stand up, take on a blitzing backer, and stone him.
It's now the loss of 7 or 8. Get something out of it. 3rd and short. They dump it off to Arnold. Arnold having a good half too. He'll get the 1st down, but hold on. A couple of penalty markers on the field.
Yeah, it's going to be a holding call in the blocking in the perimeter by Georgia Southern. It was a takedown. I didn't see exactly who that was, but I saw the play.
Ted Pitts, our referee.
Holding, offense, outside wide receiver. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay the down.
That's a veteran, Derwin Burgess.
I liked his physicality. I mean, look at Burgess here. Look at his physicality. Look at him run his feet. Look at the finish. Look at the finish. But you got to keep your hands inside. Can't let the hands get around the back of the pads. But I give him an A+ for toughness and intensity. I love that by the wide receivers. Now just get the hands a little tighter.
That's a difference of 15 yards instead of a 5-yard pickup, 10-yard penalty back to the midfield line. And now 3rd and 11. Arnold stays in the game. He's to the left of J.C. French. They'll send Buchanan in motion. French has all kinds of time. Now he's going to extend the play. He's going to take it himself to the 40, trying to get that first down. He's going to be short of the line. Couple of yards short. K.D. McDaniel raced him down.
Big decision here for Clay. I would think he's going to go for it.
Now they're going to finally decide to bring out the punter, Alex Smith. A couple of yards short of the line to gain. So at this point in the half, with the lead, Clay Helton decides to send out the punting unit.
I mean, this is a call that I think, it's a 50-50 call. The way you're running the football, might have gone for it there and try to put another score in before the half. Might have been a nail. But he chose the other way. I don't think there's a wrong answer. And they're making a lot of right answers in this game so far.
Well, the WNBA playoffs roll tomorrow with a pair of game ones in the best of 5 semis. First game is a rematch of last year's finals. Brianna Stewart and the Liberty hosting Asia Wilson and the Aces at 3 Eastern on ABC. And at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN, the Sun taking on the Lynx. WNBA Countdown tips off the coverage at 2:30 on ABC, 8 Eastern on ESPN. 54 seconds to go in the half. After that good punt by Alex Smith, the 25-year-old left-footed kicker. Georgia State is a long field. They'll start from their own 6. Good bounce out by Freddie Brock.
Georgia Southern's, dropping 8, playing umbrella coverage. Georgia State's handing the ball off.
After the 9-yard pickup, Veyer to the outside. He'll have a first down. DJ Riles, his first catch of the day, and runs it out of bounds to stop the clock.
Once they get this first down here, they may try to take a couple of shots here and see if they can get the ball out to midfield and get some operating room. But you're thrown against a soft drop 8, probably a Tampa 2 coverage here, and you got to be careful you don't throw a pick.
Panthers have a couple of timeouts to work with. Veyer rips it and caught by Michael Dukes, 6-year running back, quickly met and wrapped up by Reed Dedman. And it'll be second down after the timeout called for by the Panthers.
Nice check down by Christian Veyer. That's what you need to do. You can't force balls right now. Take what they'll give you. They're going to use the timeout and see if they can get another first down here and continue to work their way down the field. Maybe get in position to kick a field goal. Try to get something on the board, something positive to build on at halftime here.
We talked to Del McGee yesterday. They used that bye week to work on fundamentals. Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Kick off week 4 in the NFL. We'll have all the breaking stories and much, much more. Biggest thing about Georgia State coming into this game is they're the healthiest they've been. They had a 2-play scoring drive in their second series, but no points since. Veyer. Caught! And to the 49 of Georgia Southern, Petey Tucker, the JUCO transfer, on the receiving end of that 24-yard bullet.
Veyer took a shot on that play by one of the interior defensive linemen. I mean, it was a big-time shot.
Veyer off balance. He was rocked and underthrown, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Mark Stampley, the nickelback. Only the second time that Veyer has been intercepted this year, and no doubt the pressure got to him.
Yeah, he's getting heated up pretty good by just four-man rush, or three-man rush. But Georgia State's got to do a better job of protecting him when there's only three rushing, and it wasn't good enough.
Elijah Fall, number 94, the big defensive tackle out of Marietta, Georgia. Got in his face enough to disrupt Veyer. And that turnover is big. It's the first of the ball game.
It was the one before that did the damage, I think.
We'll see what Georgia Southern tries to do with their 12 seconds remaining in the half. Just going to hand it off to Bedinga and be happy to go into the locker room with a 24-7 lead. It's been an emotional couple of days in the state of Georgia, especially down in Statesboro, where the Golden Eagles call home. Boy, Clay Helton and the Eagles have been so good when leading 13-3 and scoring 8 or more in their second quarter. They have a 24-7 lead at the half here in Atlanta. Back here in Atlanta, 24-7, Georgia Southern leading Georgia State as we get ready to start the second half. The state still recovering from the storm over the last couple of days, Hurricane Helene. This game has hopefully been a bit of a distraction for those who are still recovering. First half dominated by Georgia Southern, Steve Addazio. It's been complimentary football from the Eagles, and right now their quarterback looks sharp too.
They look great. They look great on offense. They look great on defense. They look well coordinated, in sync, playing with confidence. On the other side right now, they get the ball. They need to get some first downs. They need to convert third downs. They only had 6 first downs in the first half, and they were 0 for 4 on third down in the first half. So this drive is a big drive for them to get some first downs, establish some confidence.
Yeah, Georgia Southern ran twice as many plays as Georgia State in that first half. There you see J.C. French, big smile on his face. He should be feeling good after his offense racked up over 300 yards in the first half. Georgia State will start with the football, and they're going to bring it out of the end zone. Maybe not a good decision by Jordan Ford, the transfer from Tulsa, as he's racked up well short of the 25-yard line. Time for our All-State player check-in, and we talked about Mr. French. Man, he was sharp. 19 of 27, 173 and a touchdown.
He's spreading the ball around real well. I mean, using his legs, using his arm, playing smart football, reading the secondary and the coverage. Very impressive.
And his favorite receiver in that first half, Josh Dallas, had a career game. Christian Veyer. And the Panthers offense will go to work. Michael Dukes will get that swing pass, and he'll pick up about 5 on first down. Here are the first half stats. After that 76-yard touchdown pass from Veyer to Ted Hurst, the offense really dried up for Georgia State. And that's going to be an offside call, most likely here against Georgia Southern.
Latrell Bullard, the big man in the center, in the middle there, got a little antsy and jumped off sides and pounded the center.
Offside with contact, defense, number 57. It's a 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Let's take a look at those stats again, Steve. It's so apparent that the running game needs to pick up for Georgia State. Just 3 rushing yards in the first half.
Yeah, I would say it needs to pick up a little bit. 3 yards is not where you need to be.
5 of their 6 drives in the first half. 1 minute and 17 seconds or less for Georgia State. And there's another ball batted down. Veyer's had several of those sent back his way, and this was Stroud with the rejection. M.J. Stroud, the redshirt sophomore out of Covington, Georgia.
I mean, it was 2nd and 1. Get a first down. They've been hard to come by. It's 2nd and 1. Run the block, get a first down, line up, get another set of downs. Build some confidence. Now it's 3rd and 1. Let's see if they run the ball here.
Brock checks in at running back, and they'll feed it to him. And he's churning. He's got it. And again, Del McGee, you know, he made a name for himself as a good running backs coach, especially at Georgia. Helped the Bulldogs win a couple of national titles. He's got good running back depth this year here at Georgia State, but it's been a quiet part of the game so far for the Panthers. Play fake. They'll spin it to the tight end, and Dorian Fleming is going nowhere. Aiden Jackson, the nickelback, with that cast on that left hand, shooting down to make the stop. That's a loss.
It's out of sync. It's just the play was behind the block. It's just out of sync.
Loss of a half yard. Thayer looks right, comes back left. Savion Wilkerson, the Colorado transfer, makes the catch. You get a handful before Chance Gamble makes the stop. Wilkerson also had stops at Delaware State and Jackson State. So many guys coming out of the portal for Del McGee this year. Only one team in the country, Colorado, had more players picked up out of the portal than Georgia State took.
Georgia State in that last play dropped 8, rushed 3. Played a zone coverage, nowhere to go with the ball. Let's see what they do here on 3rd down.
3rd and 7, pressure. Thayer got rid of it, and it was juggled and dropped by Wilkerson. M.J. Stroud shot up the middle to force Christian Thayer to get rid of it quickly, and Wilkerson couldn't hang on, and that is not what the Panthers needed on the first series of the second half.
They rushed 4. Great spin move on the edge. What Clay Helton said he wanted to do was create pressure on the quarterback by rushing 4, and he did it on that play.
Yeah, it was a big emphasis this week, Steve. And so far, so good. This is the 5th punt for James Allen. That's a boomer. Dallas calls for the fair catch, juggles it, and was able to hold on. And they're going to mark it at the 14-yard line.
He was just probably trying to get it under control. I don't know.
It's a 54-yard punt. Dallas, he called for the fair catch. And he did make the catch. It just wasn't pretty.
Yeah, that's weird. He did take off running with it. Yeah. It didn't advance, though. Maybe that's the subtle thing there. It went backwards.
So Georgia Southern will start at the 14-yard line. Bo Johnson goes in motion. French lost the football, and it looks like the Panthers have taken it away. Yes, they have.
That's the break they needed right there to create some momentum for themselves. Turnover inside the 10.
Henry Bryant, the redshirt junior out of Delray Beach, Florida, with the recovery inside the 10-yard line.
That just lost the grip. He just lost the grip on the ball. Slipped out of his hands. I don't think his arm was disturbed.
That's some of the best pressure we have seen coming up the middle of that interior line from the Panthers today. And now Freddie Brock, nowhere to go.
That offensive line of Georgia State did a good job of trying to push him into the end zone, and got a couple of yards doing that.
So each team with a turnover now. Georgia State trying to capitalize on the giveaway.
Georgia State's bringing in the big package. Looks like they're bringing in a bigger fullback type guy. Yep. Can't see his number there.
Freddie Brock takes it in right behind the lead block of Ted Hurst. That's a 1-yard touchdown run. Actually, that's Bishop Thomas. That's Bishop Thomas right there, the other number 16 defensive tackle who comes in to lead the way.
We used to call that the elephant grouping. Bring the big O or D lineman in as a fullback, as a lead blocker, create movement.
Liam Rickman, his extra point, and Georgia State has life here early on in the third quarter. It's the second two-play scoring drive. This one comes up after the French fumble and recovery by the Panthers. Brock takes it in from 1 yard out. It's 24-14. It's 15th season of college football here in Atlanta for Georgia State. Picked to finish last in the Sun Belt East this year, but this is a proud young program under first-year head coach Del McGee, and they got a sudden change of possession, turned it into points, and they're back in this football game now, Steve Addazio.
Big momentum turner right there. Beautiful thing about football is on a dime, one play can turn things around. Now they got to capitalize on this momentum, play a great series of defense here. Obviously Georgia Southern needs to create first downs like they've been doing all game and move the ball down the field.
A couple of quick scoring drives. Second two-play drive. First point since Veyer hit Ted Hurst on that 75-yard touchdown pass. Well, we'll see how J.C. French responds. Remember, we talked about this at the top of the broadcast. The main reason he was picked to be the starting quarterback for the Eagles this year was because he did not turn the ball over in fall camp. Just one interception thrown in fall camp, very few turnovers, period. That was a big emphasis in the offseason, as Georgia Southern had 31 turnovers a year ago. That led the country. Jalen White will start this series in the backfield. They'll fake the handoff to him, and he goes back to Josh Dallas. J.C. French grew up just up the road in Roswell, Georgia. Was the primary backup last year, was thrilled to get the starting job in Statesboro.
Well, he's earned it, and he's playing like a starter. That was a freak play that happened.
Second down and 8. Ooh, Dallas hit as he tried to make the catch. That is the second time that Jeremiah Johnson, the all Sun Belt safety, has dislodged the ball from a receiver.
They're running the RPO off the one-back power again, and you can see the free safety coming shot out of a cannon right there, and makes a great play on the ball. And that's what you have to do, disrupt those slant routes off the RPOs.
Kevin Shearer absolutely loves Johnson. Longtime college and NFL coach, was the defensive coordinator at Georgia Tech last year. French, just a little shovel pass up the middle to Jalen White. He's going to stop well short of the line to gain. Gets 5, but it's going to be 4th down and 3 as Jaron Gilmore made the stop.
That was a really headsy play by French. Just unfortunately too far to go for that to convert. Looks like Georgia State is playing with a lot more energy on defense right now.
DJ Riles is back to return this punt. And fair caught. Just outside the 25-yard line. We're at Park Stadium, Center Park Stadium here in Atlanta. Georgia Grown Bowl, the first edition. Commissioner's Cup on the
line. Goes back a century, just like Ali and Frazier. You go take what belongs to you. Let me in.
All eyes on Tuscaloosa tonight. Number 2 Georgia, number 4 Alabama on ABC. 4 of the last 7 titles have either come out of Athens or Tuscaloosa. Something's got to give tonight. Kalen DeBoer, this will be his first foray into SEC play as the head coach of the Crimson Tide. Well, Georgia State has some momentum now. And Freddie Brock on first down rips it up the middle for about 7. This game has changed the complexion now, certainly favoring Georgia State.
Energy, you could feel the energy. That run, that was a burst run by Freddie. I mean, just a really fast hitting, hard run.
Turnover by French inside the 5. Georgia State turned it into points, and then the defense getting off the field quickly. There's Brock again. You know, the other thing about these Georgia State running backs is they're good receivers. You get them out on the perimeter and they can do things like that.
This is a talented offense, you know, and they just have been out of sync. They haven't been consistent, but they have ability and talent. They got playmakers.
On first down, Veyer goes over the seam, and he's got Dorian Fleming, the big tight end, in free flight. He'll make the end zone. Touchdown. "58 yards. And the Panthers are roaring here in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah, what they did was they ran a play action fake off the one back power, and they hit the tight end down the seam. They didn't carry it. They didn't carry the coverage.
Just like that, it's a 3-point game. Dorian Fleming coming off a career high 6 catches against Vanderbilt. That's his 2nd touchdown of the year, and another big play for this quick strike offense.
So what they're doing is running a little gap scheme up front, pulling the guard, securing the edge, and they're going to hit this tight end down the seam here. I don't know where the post safety was on that. Yeah. Nice ball. Nice run after catch. Felt the pressure coming, and he released the ball and then threw a really nice accurate ball and created an explosive. That's two plays now, 2 touchdowns, 2 scores in a short amount of time.
8th touchdown pass of the day, or 2nd of the day, 8th of the year for Veyer. DeAndre Buchanan on the return out to the 22-yard line for Georgia Southern, who all of a sudden feels like they have their back against the wall. We'll see if they can get the momentum back. They carried it throughout that entire first half. Now it's up to J.C. French to try and get it back.
Got to beat back Big Mo. Big Mo is taking over right now. Georgia State's feeling it. J.C. French right now has got to be poised. They got to go back to the way they started the game. He's got to distribute the ball, mix his runs, mix his passes, run some of his RPOs, run some of his read zones. Just steady in the boat here and just be consistent.
4 receivers, O.J. Arnold, the running back, and they'll get it to Arnold. And a couple of touchdowns in the first half. He'll spin his way for about 5. It's been a breakout year for Fleming, one of the talented tight ends for Georgia State. Amon Green, their best tight end, back for this game from injury. Preseason All Sun Belt. We have not seen Green make an impact yet. Second and 5, French is going to throw it away. Man, this defense has really started to stand tall. That was Jaron Gilmore, the transfer from Tennessee Tech, making noise.
They read that screen. The J.C. French had to burn that play right there. Really great break on the ball by Jaron Gilmore.
3rd down and 5. Eagles 6 for 10 on 3rd down. Pressure off the edge, and French goes down. Ball came out. Kevin Swint, the outside linebacker, stripped French. We'll see if this is another Eagles turnover. I'm going to say that it's 4th down as Georgia Southern was able to recover.
JC ran himself out of the pocket and got hit by the guy that came all the way around beyond the pocket and hit him. He needed to step up in the pocket. There's no penetration inside.
Kevin Swint, the reigning Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Week against Vandy. He was all over the place. 8 tackles, a couple of sacks, forced fumble, and he broke up 2 passes.
Good recovery by Wembley, the offensive guard.
And now Georgia State has the ball back with a chance to drive and take the lead here in the Georgia Grown Bowl. Georgia Southern was dominant in the first half, but here in the second half, it's been all Georgia State, and the numbers reflect that. So much at stake in this ball game. It's a rivalry. It's the conference opener. Winner gets a leg up in Sun Belt play. And Del McGee must have said the right things at halftime, Coach. I know as a longtime head coach at the college level, you've had to make inspirational speeches at halftime. As Veer rolls out, he's going to flip it to the sideline, incomplete. What was the message, do you think, from Del McGee?
We can't play any worse. We can only get better. Let's go back and take care of the fundamentals, do the little things right, and let's get this back in this game. You know, build it brick by brick. That was they ran an RPO there, and you know, Christian there really should have handed that ball off. That would have been a big run hit.
Veer, play fake, taking a shot, double coverage, looking for Hurst, and it lands incomplete. Tracy Hill step for step with Ted Hurst, and a penalty marker in the backfield. This is going to be a holding call against the Panthers.
Holding, offense, number 70. That's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay 2nd down.
It's on the center, Alec Johnson.
You know, they just started to get the run game going here, and now we're dropping back, throwing bombs into coverage, and that's a takedown by number 70. That's a easy call, easy hold. Can't do it. Look at the field position now. Look where you are. 2nd and 20.
3rd penalty against Georgia State today. Veer will try to get some of it back. It's incomplete, nearly intercepted. MJ Stroud has had a nice game today. The linebacker almost had another takeaway for the Eagles. And it's 3rd down and 20.
Got to see if Georgia Southern can generate a little pass rush here with a 3-man rush. I'm guessing they're going to drop 8 here. Create some pressure on Christian Veer.
Here comes that pressure. Picked up, thrown short. And Georgia Southern is going to get off the field. Reed Dedman with the tackle. And so Georgia Southern needed a stop defensively, and they got it.
Dedman, that was a violent hit he laid out there right now. He pursued, and really, that was impressive. He put the wood to him. Ran down that screen.
LV Bunkley Shelton back to return this kick for the Eagles. James Allen to punt. Muffed, and it's recovered by Georgia State. Another mistake by Georgia Southern here in the 3rd quarter. Jeremiah Johnson with the recovery.
3 turnovers here in the second half, and 3 turnovers. 2 of them resulted in scores, and the third one has given great field position to Georgia State.
LV Bunkley Shelton went to Oklahoma, then to Arizona State before coming to Georgia Southern, and he just gave it away. And now we'll see if the Panthers can capitalize again. Veyer, incomplete. That was intended for Fleming.
He fell away from that throw. He didn't step into it. He had the right read there. That was the check down, but kind of threw it fading away and kind of sidearmed it out there as opposed to setting his feet and fouling through. That would have been a big gain.
Another sudden change of possession. Wilkerson inside the 25-yard line to make it 3rd down and manageable. Ferguson, the defensive end, with the tackle.
Run the ball. 5 yards, 5.5, 6-yard gain right there. These backs are running hard. Try to stay on schedule.
Is this 2-down territory?
I mean, you know, you're down 3 right now, depending on what if you get enough on this, yes. If you don't, you've got confidence in your kicker, kick the field goal, tie the game up, keep momentum alive.
Boy, the 3rd downs have been an Achilles heel for the Panthers. Can they convert here? Veyer takes a deep shot downfield, incomplete, and so now it's 4th down and 5. And they're going to run out the field goal unit. Interesting play call there.
Surprised at that call. You know, that was two shot plays in that series, as opposed to just kind of taking it in chunks of 4 and 5 and gaining momentum. I guess, you know, if you make it, everybody's like, great call, but you didn't.
Liam Rickman from 41 yards. No, he missed it.
I hope that series and that situation doesn't come back to haunt him later.
Well, Georgia State gets a gift on the muffed punt by Bunkley Shelton, but they can't cash in. And Georgia Southern still has a 3-point lead with 5:51 to go in the 3rd. Liam Rickman, the former walk-on, 2nd-year place kicker here at Georgia State, just his 3rd miss of the year. Came into the day 5 of 7. There's Jalen White on 1st down. And Georgia Southern, they got a break there, and they really need to sustain a drive.
They need it now. This is where, you know, J.C. French is the leader of this offense, and big-time players make big-time plays. They need him here to be that big-time player and put together a nice drive here.
It's been an ugly second half for this offense. That looks good for Jalen White. Big run for a 1st down. Out to the 41. That's a gain of 14. Gavin Pringle on the stop. But on the opening series, it was a fumble, a giveaway. Resulted in points for Georgia State. A couple of punts, and then that muff, which could have been a backbreaker. But the Eagles lucked out. They still have the lead.
Played good defense, and we're able now to reestablish field position and momentum here with a nice run, nice couple of runs.
Jalen White again, the native of Daleville, Alabama, southeastern part of that state, led the nation in rushing as a senior in high school. He's going to kind of hobble over to the sideline. Jalen White hasn't been quite the factor in this game I thought he would be.
Well, he's coming back from that injury, and he's getting his game legs back. The best days are ahead for him if he stays healthy.
11 carries for 50 yards for White. This is Arnold back in the game. They fake it to him, and now French in trouble, ducks away from a sack and just throws it to the sideline. Boy, that was a headsy play there by J.C. French to avoid a loss. It'll be 3rd and 7.
He did avoid a loss, but I think if he could have kept his feet there, I think he could have got outside the pocket here. I don't know that he needed to throw it away right there. See that? I think he could have captured the edge. I'm surprised he did, but he keeps his eyes down the field really well, and he probably had his eyes down there and didn't really feel the overlap of the defense. Critical 3rd down here.
From the tight end in motion. French uncorks to Dallas again. Boy, has that combination been sharp today. Down to the 44 of Georgia State.
Yeah, he ripped that ball on an in route, and a little square in here. Look at, he rips it and just puts it right on the money. That's impressive.
Career day for Dallas. 8 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Going to the air again. Right down the middle, wide open.
Wow.
Jet Thompson. Inside the 10-yard line. A gain of 36. 1st down, goal to go Eagles.
God, I love that. I just love it when your quarterback will take it right in the mouth like that and stand in there and throw that ball down the field, make a big play. You got to be a courageous guy.
Georgia Southern solid in the red zone today, all year for that matter. They're going to have White in the backfield. They fake the handoff to him. French rolling out to his right. A little pressure, and he looked at Dallas, but then throws it out of bounds. 2nd and goal.
On the replay here, watch the hit he takes, but look at the ball he delivers. That's how you earn the respect of your teammates, your fan base, and you earn yourself as being a leader of this football team.
And he gets it to Jet Thompson, who had just 1 catch before today. They wanted to get their fastest player involved. He's got a couple of catches in this ball game, and that the biggest. To put the Eagles on the doorstep. 2:39 to go here in the 3rd. Inside handoff. There goes Jalen White to the goal line, and he's in. Touchdown. Georgia Southern gets back on the scoreboard.
That's an answer, Clay. That's an answer. J.C. French had to step up as a big-time dude, and that big-time dude stepped up and made a big-time play. And that's what the mark of a good football team. Ran the ball in at the end right there. The offensive line did a great job on the one-back power. Great drive, great answer. Great way to answer the bell for the momentum of Georgia State. We got a football game here. We got 2 teams battling each other right now.
Jalen White, his 6th rushing touchdown of the year. The healthiest he's been all year. Takes it in from 8 yards out, capping an 8-play, 76-yard scoring drive in 3:18. Georgia Southern needed a response, and they got it done, especially, in the ground game, which had kind of gone quiet after a really good first half.
It did, and that was a great answer. That was well blocked. And the thing that I noticed on that play, it wasn't just the offensive line. It was the receiver, if you noticed, blocking downfield, even though it was a short field near the goal line, and the finish of his block. And everybody had maximal effort, and I thought it was great execution by the Georgia Southern offense with demeanor.
Touchback, Georgia State will have it at the 25-yard line. ESPN Plus, the home for more than 50 Sun Belt football games this season. Tonight, Troy hosting Louisiana Monroe at 7 Eastern. Next Saturday, Appalachian State squaring off against Marshall at 3:30 Eastern. If you're a Sun Belt fan, you got to have ESPNplus.com to sign up. We've talked about how Hurricane Helene really affected the state of Georgia. How about what the storm damage did to Boone, North Carolina, the home of Appalachian State? Absolutely devastating.
That's a horrible thing, and tough on a community, tough on people. Our hearts go out to them and wish them nothing but the best.
Fair on first down, underthrown. And that's going to be ruled incomplete. Veyer a little disappointed with himself. Jordan Ford couldn't make the catch. It'll be second down. You look at this Sun Belt this year, Coach, and you know it's always a conference that overachieves. You know, these two teams hope to be in the mix. Georgia Southern picked 4th in the East. Georgia State picked last in the East. The team to look out for, though, again this year is JMU. James Madison has been impressive as Freddie Bach will carry for a couple. It'll be third down.
Really good defense. I thought the defensive line for Georgia Southern did a great job of not allowing any penetration and knocking that thing back and creating a 3rd and long. These teams are playing hard right now. These are rival teams in a rivalry game, and they're fighting for this thing right now.
Brock in the backfield on 3rd and 8. Veyer rips it, caught. Hurst, nice spin. Still on his feet to midfield. Ted Hurst, he has been an inspiration at the wide receiver spot for Georgia State.
They brought a simulated pressure, Georgia Southern, and voided his own. And Ted Hurst found that void and made a nice run after catch.
Going with some tempo. Another one batted down at the line. That's either 4 or 5 today for this Georgia Southern defense. Veyer has had a hard time, even though he stands 6'5", Steve, getting that ball over the top of this Eagles line.
The interior of the Georgia Southern defensive front is playing a slow push up the middle, getting their hands up, doing a great job with that.
Second and 10. Out to Michael Dukes, the running back on the screen. Not much there. MJ Stroud will make the tackle. So here's another 3rd down. It'll be 3rd and 5.
That's the big Latrell Bullard right now is down on one knee. He's the one that's making that pursuit on that play. He's been all over this football field. Again, when you talk about a man that's 360 pounds that runs like he does, it's so impressive.
This Georgia Southern defense, remember last week they gave up 607 yards at Ole Miss, but you know that's Jackson Dart, a guy who's going to be a Heisman candidate this year, and Ole Miss an offense under great leadership, and of course Lane Kiffin, always tough to scheme against. He said, I think my defense is better than our numbers would indicate, and the way they have played today, especially Bullard, number 57, I mean, they look sharp at times. Wasn't a great start to the second half, but they're coming around again.
Wow, he brought the wood. He hustled down that line. You get hit by somebody with momentum at 360 pounds, you've been hit.
There's Brandon Bailey, just 30 years old, the youngest defensive coordinator in the FBS. And they have forced another 3rd down. Georgia State today, 2 of 9 on 3rd down. And you just hope that Bullard, the big man, can return. To Dukes, he's hit in the backfield and he's got nowhere to go. Isaac Walker at the point of attack, and Stroud in there to clean it up as well. No gain, and it's 4th down.
Georgia Southern hadn't shown that yet this game. They jumped in bear defense, which means they're covering the center, the 2 guards, and then 2 ends. There's nowhere to run the ball.
Now they're going to keep the offense on the field, and they're going to go for it on 4th and 4. Or possibly just trying to draw them off.
Well, they know what the coverage is right now. Georgia Southern appears to be playing that one high man coverage. Oh yeah, here they're coming on.
Here comes the blitz, and another one batted back.
Great job of getting after the quarterback by Georgia Southern. Surprised there that that's a down where you sometimes can run that screen, that tunnel screen, and take advantage that you knew they were going to come after him and heat him up. I thought they saw that when they hutted him at the line of scrimmage, but they opted to stay in the drop-back game, and it's just Christian Veer got overwhelmed.
Brandon Bailey might be a little green, but boy, he has called a good game defensively. It's Reed Dedman who shot right down the middle, and Elijah Fall got a hand on it. We're going to go to the fourth quarter in a 10-point game. Georgia Southern with the ball and the lead in this trophy game, the Commissioner's Cup, on the line between Southern and State. Clay Matvick, Steve Addazio back here in Atlanta, where Georgia State won the third quarter. But Georgia Southern has the ball and the momentum as we enter quarter number 4. J.C. French and this Eagles offense taking a shot downfield, and Dallas can't hang on this time. Josh Dallas has been a receiver today who at times seems to have had stickum on his hands, but this one slips out in good coverage.
They brought that interior dog by both inside backers, and they picked it up good.
Jaron Gilmore in on that coverage. 3rd down and 9. Ooh, and that's a hit. It looked early, but no penalty flag. It was intended for Derwin Burgess. Maybe Johnson got there right as the ball was delivered, but
Behind the line.
it appeared he got there early. Here's another look. Boy, that's borderline, coach. No call. And so now Alex Smith to punt. Hand over end kick. And it's going to drop inside the 15-yard line. Good punt by Smith. Georgia State will have it back. Fansville college football update. How about that game last night? They're still talking about it all over the country. That controversial finish. Cam Ward, though, did he have a Heisman-type game? I think a lot of people would argue he did for Miami.
I believe he did. When he wasn't playing his best, he had some ups and downs. The team had some ups and downs, but in the end, he put him on his back, and he made spectacular plays to bring him down the field to win the game. And that's what championship quarterbacks do, and that's what can win you the Heisman in the end if you can keep and sustain those kinds of plays.
Fansville college football update presented by Dr. Pepper. Christian Veer. He wants to take a deep shot, and it's incomplete. It was underthrown, intended for Hurst. TJ Smith, the former Kansas State Wildcat, had him locked up pretty good. 2nd down and 10.
He spun the corner around. Yep, spun him around, got a little lost. Yeah, it just looks like to me that, you know, we could have fought for the ball just a little bit more. Well, they took a shot. What they need is a sustained drive.
263 yards passing for Veer. A couple of touchdowns. He's been picked off once. Rips a throw just short of the 20 to Hurst. And back out on the field is Latrell Bullard, the big defensive tackle. Good to see. Hurst is going to head to the sideline ahead of this 3rd down play. Looks like Bullard might be favoring that left shoulder a bit. You see that Georgia State has had an awful time on 3rd down. Veer. Throw caught. Freddie Brock out of the backfield. And did he get it? Yes, he did. Just enough for the first down. Georgia State needed 4. They got 4.5.
I was concerned on that play. They got into the they got into the shins of the quarterback, hit him low.
There haven't been a lot of first downs for Georgia State today. That's their 11th. Georgia Southern has twice as many today. They give it to Brock again. And that was really the problem in the first half, Steve. I mean, Georgia State just didn't have enough first downs. A lot of it was because they couldn't generate a running game.
Right. Yeah, they were 0 for 4. And it's plagued them throughout the game. They're obviously a little better right now, but not at the level it needs to be able to have consistency enough to drive the ball down the field. They've made some big strikes and, of course, some key turnovers they've been able to take away.
A lot of time left in this football game. Georgia State down 10. Veyer down the seam, and that's caught. DJ Riles, the sophomore from Columbus, Georgia, gain of 22 out close to midfield.
They're splitting the safeties here. And, you know, Georgia Southern's in a too-high structure, which means 2 safeties deep playing half the field or quarters of the field, and they're hitting the center of that field on that route, taking advantage of that zone, sucking them in with the toss so the linebackers play the run, and it's a void.
Veyer wants to throw again. On first down, incomplete. Overshot Riles that time. But remember, the last couple of games, Christian Veyer has been the hero for Georgia State in the fourth quarter. Against Chattanooga, against Vandy.
He had him there again. Just overthrew him a little bit, but he had him. Receivers offsides here.
False start, 17 offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Those are the no talent issues that, you know, you can't have creeping up on here when you're trying to go win a game right now. You know, everybody's got to do their part, dig in, and play really clean football here. Can't afford penalties and things that push you backwards.
Second and 15. Pressure picked up. Right down the hash marks to Tyleik Williams. Boy, Christian Veyer's confidence, you can see it increasing as this game goes along. That's a strike of 20.
Once again, they're attacking these safeties, getting the ball behind the linebackers in front of the safeties.
Wants another chunk play. Going to Hurst. Who's got it? That's going to be picked off. Chance Gamble with the takeaway. A battle with Hurst, and Gamble wins it.
There was a lot of hand fighting going on down there, and he came away with the ball.
Chance Gamble spent the last 3 seasons at Kennesaw State. Comes to Georgia Southern to make an impact, and boy, did he make one here in the fourth quarter in Atlanta. This is worth looking at again, the interception by Chance Gamble, and yes, it's a pick, and yes, he got a foot in.
That's a great play by Gamble. Big time play and a real key part of this game. He was physical and he went after the ball. Both guys fighting for it. Big play. These guys are fighting in this rivalry game. Both sides are fighting for this thing. Got 11 minutes of great football left ahead of us.
There's Veyer. That's the second interception he has thrown in this football game, his 3rd of the year. Now Georgia Southern has a long field ahead of them, but they have a 98-yard touchdown drive today, a 76-yard touchdown drive today. It's nothing that they haven't been able to accomplish before, a long drive. White from out of the end zone will take it ahead. Gets it across the 5-yard line to the 7.
Those are tough yards to come by when you're trying to bring that ball from out inside the 5-yard line. Those are hard yards you're scraping for. He got 3 of them. Get a little room and a little space here for the quarterback to operate.
Do you anticipate much more of the Georgia Southern run game now?
I do. I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of QB run coming up here, maybe just a big first down.
Good spin. Jalen White. It's going to be close to a first down. Kevin Swint on the stop. It'll be 3rd and about a yard. As Georgia Southern is milking a little clock now, too. There's not quite the urgency to get up to the line, and in fact, even huddling at times now.
This is where if you're an under center team, you probably sneak it here, you know. But when you're a shotgun team, to me, that's one of the disadvantages of not getting under center, you know. Maybe I spoke too soon. Here he is. He's getting under center.
He's going to get under Chance Carroll. And he's got the first down. J.C. French, the 3rd leading rusher for Georgia Southern coming into the game. And he picks it up.
I love that call. I just, you know, to me, that's the go-to. You check a QB sneak and check to a power. But when you don't practice it every day, and maybe they do, you know, you get nervous of the exchange. Great job by J.C. French. Good call. Critical first down get right there. You get another set of downs here.
Clock continues to tick away. Jalen White pushing people out of his way. Just bullies his way to the 29-yard line. Close to another first down.
They ran a counter play there. At the end of it, I couldn't see it I was looking field level, but I almost thought he changed the ball in his hand there for a minute. I hope he didn't do that. No. Good. Carry that thing. It's moving too much. Carry that thing high and tight now. This is all ball security time here now. You don't want a loose ball. Obviously, Georgia State's trying to get at that ball and strip it, create a turnover.
First down. O.J. Arnold and much more. He'll spill out across the 35 to the 37.
That was a strong run, and he got corralled around the neck. Another first down. They're running the rock right now. They're having the ability to really put pressure on this defensive front.
Boy, those rushing yards, what a contrast.
Yep.
198 to 29. That's where the game ultimately could be won. Bunkley Shelton in motion. Play action pass. French going deep to Burgess. Incomplete.
You know,
Gavin Pringle in coverage.
They've called a great game, and but I just not sure I understand that particular call. You're running the ball, you're having great success. My fear on that was he was going to get tackled from behind and possibly get stripped of that ball.
Or you throw an interception.
Or you throw an interception. I'm surprised at that call.
There's Ryan Applin, the offensive coordinator, and of course the head coach, Clay Helton, longtime play caller. Arnold got away, and he gets to the edge, and he's going to slide down at the 41. What a headsy play by Arnold to keep that clock moving.
He read that counter play well. He looked at the A gap. It wasn't open. He bounced it outside, and then look at the stutter move and the stiff arm with his right arm escapes the tackle, and then oh, wait a minute now. At the end of that play, that was unnecessary.
Yeah, but no penalty flag against Josiah Robinson for what could have been perhaps a late hit. They'll go back to the air. It's batted, but still caught. Josh Dallas got a little luck on that one, and he's still on his feet, fighting. What a game for Josh Dallas. They're going to start calling him the Big D.
You start talking about a will to win. A will to win. Fielding that ball, the run after the catch. That was incredible. That might have been the play of the game right there. That ball was tipped.
Vayers had a lot of balls tipped at the line. That might be the first time that French had a ball tipped, but it still ends up in the hands of Dallas, and he turns it into a big play. We step aside here in Atlanta.
ESPN College Football is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and McDonald's.
That was the 9th catch for Josh Dallas, and the most inspiring and fun to watch, Steve Addazio.
Oh, man, look at the end of this play. Look at the assistant coaches. Look at his other players on his team. They're fired up. I mean, this is ball, man. This is football. This is rivalry football. Two Georgia teams going after each other. I love it.
This Georgia Southern drive started at their own 4-yard line. They have taken it all the way to the 32 of Georgia State, leading by 10. As we go under 7 minutes to play, Eagles bleeding some clock. They're trying to deliver the hammer blow here late in this ball game. The Georgia Grown Bowl, the first edition. It's been a fun rivalry in recent years, but now a trophy on the line, so that always ups the ante. It's called the Commissioner's Cup. Not to mention, this is the first game in conference play here in the Sun Belt for both of these teams. Jalen White's going to have the first down yardage necessary.
Now this is, it's not quite 4 minute yet, but I think you want to have a little bit of a 4-minute mentality here, which, you know, you're going to try to run the rock. You're going to make sure that you've got great ball security and bleed as much of the clock in every play as you possibly can. So this is a practice thing. You know, you hit that 4-minute mark, you work on that in preseason camp and during the week, and there's a lot to that.
Taking that clock deep. Ball snapped with 7 seconds left.
Run.
French. He's going to slide down. Second down and 10. Here's a look at the Commissioner's Cup, sponsored by the Georgia Department of Agriculture. And we talked to both coaches and their staffs before this game this week. They said so many players from Georgia. This game means the world to these players. 149 guys from the state of Georgia collectively on these rosters.
You're seeing it on the field. You're seeing that fight on the field, that passion. It's what makes college football great.
Georgia Southern trying to win this matchup for the second straight year. Jalen White again. Third down. And Georgia State calls a timeout. That'll be their first.
They went back to that one-back power again and had success with a nice 4-yard carry.
Timeout here in Atlanta. I don't think I have to remind you again how big this game is coming up later on Saturday night. Football presented by Capital One. Number 2 Georgia, number 4 Alabama. 7:30 Eastern time from Tuscaloosa. Look at this drive for Georgia Southern. Started at the 4. And on third down, they've got a first down. O.J. Arnold. After the interception, a key takeaway by Chance Gamble. This Georgia Southern offense has milked the clock. They've taken it under 5 minutes.
Running backs for Georgia Southern are taking this game on their back and carrying their team right now. That was an exceptional run with a phenomenal jump cut. Doesn't look like much, but you got another set of downs.
Career high 110 yards rushing for Arnold. This will be the 80th play of the ball game for the Eagles. They have had 40 running plays, 39 passing plays. I mean, it's been a very balanced performance for this offense. Great game called by the coordinator, Ryan Applin, just 34 years old. You can see why Clay Helton trusts him so much, thinks he's a rising star. in the business.
Did a great job tonight, and obviously Clay has been a great teacher and tutor. And, really impressed with the way they look tonight. I'm not sure why there was a timeout taken there. I don't know why that was. And it must have been the clock was running down, but you don't want to do that now. You want this thing to keep rolling here.
That turnover took some of the air out of these Georgia State fans as Veilleux was moving the offense again. That shot toward the corner really changed the feel of this fourth quarter, and now Georgia Southern driving to put this game away. On first down, Jalen White. Maybe a yard. Again, that clock continues to run, and we've got another man down. It's one of the offensive linemen, Dom Boyd, the left tackle.
He's the versatile guy who split out in that formation and then got in the backfield on the goal line. Strong player for Georgia Southern.
Good news for Georgia Southern after this game, this rivalry game, they go on bye. And they'll have a chance to get healthy before hosting Marshall on October the 12th. But then they host James Madison, the Sun Belt favorite. Boy, they've been impressive.
They're going to need all they have for that game. They got to finish this one out here. There's still ball left to play here, but if they can find a way to do that and come off of this run and the schedule they played and get some rest and get healthy, I think they can take the next step as a football team.
Boy, they came in struggling in the running game. Clay Helton was desperately looking for answers rushing the football, and they found some answers today. A lot of big plays too in the run game. 8 carries of 10 yards or more.
They're running right now against a loaded box. Not easy.
Dallas in motion, second down and 9. White hops to the outside, looking for the edge. He's got it. Goodbye, touchdown.
Great job. Great in the perimeter. Exceptional blocking by the receiver. Great bounce out by the running back. And I just felt like they look fast and they look explosive. Jalen White showed you that burst on that play.
14 plays, 96 yards to put this game away, taking almost 7.5 minutes off the clock.
Wow. That's how you put a game out. You drive, you have a 14-play drive, and you punctuate it with a touchdown, running the ball against loaded boxes, imposing your will. How about that play on the sideline where he just wouldn't be taken down? I mean, it's a statement for Georgia Southern. Give them credit. Two teams really fighting hard, but just a fantastic job by Georgia Southern in these final minutes here.
Derwin Burgess doing his part. Good downfield blocking from the wide receiver. We said it before at halftime, Steve. Complementary football. Georgia Southern does it really well. That defensive takeaway at a critical time by Gamble gets it back in the hands of French in the offense, and they march it down the field to put it away.
You know you have a together football team when wide receivers block like that downfield. It's very unselfish. That's not what they want to do, but they're doing it. And it shows you a lot about the quality of the football program.
.410 left. Panther fans heading for the parking lot here in Atlanta. This is a stadium that has had many great moments over the years. We talked about the Olympics. We talked about the Braves and how great they were for so many years, and championships won here. But now it belongs to Georgia State, and they've done a great job retrofitting this stadium, Center Park Stadium. And unfortunately, there weren't as many fans as they had hoped. We're going to be here for this rivalry game today because of the hurricane and everyone cleaning up after the hurricane. And so many of the high school teams, Steve, that normally play on Friday night, and all of the high school recruits and fans that were expected to be here for this game, they had games today. They had to make those games up. Still a pretty good atmosphere, as that one's incomplete, in and out of the hands of Laney. But I think all in all, the first edition of this Georgia Grown Bowl, entertaining, and it's a rivalry that just continues to grow.
It's amazing to me. This program started in 2010, and they have the the quality of the program they have, the stadium, the facilities. It's a tribute to how important football is in the state of Georgia.
Veilleux on 2nd and 10. Downfield, another good chunk play. There have been several for Veilleux and the receivers. This time it's Riles into plus territory. Clock continues to move. That's a 24-yard pickup. Del McGee, 4th head coach in Georgia State history. It isn't a long list of guys. Bill Curry was the first. Veilleux escapes the pocket, comes back across the middle to the end zone, and it's intercepted. Picked off again. This time T.J. Smith, whose brother Christopher was an All-American defensive back at Georgia just a couple of years ago, now with the Raiders, makes that interception near the goal line. And that's the haymaker. All over but the shouting now.
Christian Veilleux is just trying to make a play, and it's hard when they are dropping back, playing deep zone coverage like that. They were doing a nice job of trying to get behind the linebackers in front of the safeties. And
Fleming was open.
Got to get a little room here, Georgia Southern here, so that they can, drain this clock here.
White stopped for a loss, but Georgia State's going to have to use a timeout. And now they are out of timeouts. Well, you can see why they like Veilleux. There's no doubt he's got an arm. It's just that critical interception earlier here in the 4th quarter changed the feel of the second half. The second half that early on looked like Georgia State was going to mount a comeback. You can see the schedule lying ahead for the Panthers. They're going to fall to 2-2, and then it doesn't get easy as they get into the teeth of their Sun Belt schedule.
No, it doesn't. They've got to iron out their run game problems. They're not running the ball well enough right now. There's got to be. They've got enough talent. Their line's good enough. Their backs are good enough. I think they just got to spend some time and hammer out that run game. Be a little patient with it and get it going.
Just 29 rushing yards for the Panthers today. Not one rush of 10 yards or more, and we talked about the explosive plays both in the passing game and the running game for Georgia Southern, but especially in the running game, just nothing there to help Veilleux and this Panthers offense.
Georgia Southern's got to be careful here now. The ball's on the 1.
Jalen White, well, that's a big run to get it out to the 5. And Georgia State out of timeouts. Jeremiah Johnson saw his helmet come off, so he'll have to leave the field. Georgia Southern, their 3rd road game of the year, their 2nd straight. They had that nice win at Nevada 3 weeks ago that snapped a 5-game road losing streak going back to last year. This is going to feel really good going back to Statesboro after tonight. But you see their schedule, and of course James Madison coming up here in a few weeks. But they'll be at home for that one.
It was odd what just happened there. I don't know why the officials didn't wind. It took them so long to wind the clock. That's what I think Clay Helton was running down the sideline saying, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Wind the clock.
And now Clay Helton is going to give directions to bleed this thing down inside the 5 on the play clock. Jalen White sneaking through. Another first down.
That's an impressive run. Get the ball out of the low red zone, get a first down, and no timeouts left for Georgia State. Look at that. Look at the seam. Look at the gap. Great job by the offensive line. Well blocked, well ran. Excellent. Excellent job.
Jalen White, O.J. Arnold, both over 100 yards rushing, as Georgia Southern has run for 265 today. That takes us to our 2-minute timeout. Georgia Southern on their way to victory here tonight in Atlanta. It's been a tough couple of days in the Southeast here in the United States. Hurricane Helene was devastating. If you want to help, donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help all the folks recover. A lot of people here in the state of Georgia, in Atlanta, in Statesboro, and all over the Peach State. I hope everybody can get back on their feet soon. This is going to be a great win for Clay Helton and the Georgia Southern Eagles. Going to get over 500 to 3-2. He said, don't let our numbers fool you. I've got a better offense and a better defense than those numbers reflect because of who we've played. They hosted Boise State, a top 25 team. They had to go to number 5 Ole Miss, who put a ton of points and over 600 yards of offense against that defense. He said, I feel very confident about my group going into league play because of who we play.
And he's right. His team came out and battled and fought and went up and went down and didn't go down, but brought it close and came back and opened the lead back up and just showed great resilience and a lot of toughness. And you can build on that. I think Georgia State right now is got the makings of a good football team. I know this isn't the outcome they wanted today, but certainly love to. I think they got a lot of good football ahead of them.
Yeah, we said it at the top of the broadcast that college football game can sometimes be a distraction from everything that's going on. Of course, with the hurricane in Statesboro, Clay Helton said that. He said, we're gonna try and win this game for the people of Statesboro. They're going through so much, and they did that today on the road. They're not going to have power on for several days yet down there. They're not going to be back in school at Georgia Southern until Wednesday at the earliest. I mean, it's been a tough time, but maybe today lifted some people's spirits.
I think it sure did. I think they can be proud of this football program and look forward to what's ahead for them.
J.C. French was very impressive. You can see why he won the job coming out of camp. Got a lot of help from that running game too today.
The running game was fantastic. When they were called on, they delivered big plays. They played great defense. They had a strong running game, and those are usually two of the most important elements to win a game and have a good football team.
And for Georgia State, it's going to be back to the drawing board a little bit for Del McGee and his staff. Look at Helton on the left and his offensive coordinator, Brian Applin. Called a good game today. Now he wants another timeout. 31 seconds left. Georgia State, they're going to be on bye again next week. They just came off bye. They're going to go back on bye, and then they host Old Dominion in a couple of weeks. Christian Vayer's got a lot of promise. He's got a cannon for an arm, and when he's on, he is on. But he needs a little help from that running game.
I think that's the key for Georgia State. I think developing the run. They have the makings of a good running game. I mean, schematically, I like what they're doing. Maybe just need to hang in there a little bit more with it. But they can run the football. Their line is pretty solid. The backs, I think, are explosive. Just got to hang in there with the run game, and I think that will help Christian, and I think their offense will develop.
Del McGee, former Georgia Southern assistant, in fact was their interim head coach in 2015 for the Eagles' victory over Bowling Green in the GoDaddy Bowl. Now he's on the other side, and his team comes up short in the Georgia Grown Bowl today, the rivalry that now has a trophy. The Commissioner's Cup will go to Georgia Southern. They'll be on the bus heading to Statesboro. Hopefully the trip back not as arduous as the trip here. Over 5 hours to get here because of all the trees and storm debris on the highway. An impressive game for French, and that offense